We're kicking off episode 32 of The Bride of Monster Kid Radio with the song Long March 7. It's from the surf band Desert Undertones. It's their new EP. You can find them at desertundertones.bandcamp.com or go to their website, desertundertones.com, where if you click on events, you'll see that they've got some upcoming shows, including Surfapalooza in Tucson, Arizona on Saturday, July 26th. They're going to be in San Diego on July 29th, performing with the Tourmaliners at Tio Leo's. They've got some other events coming up, some other shows happening in September as well, in Long Beach, California, Huntington Beach, and they're going to be back in Tucson as well. Make sure you check them out. Let them know that you heard about them here on the podcast devoted to the classic and sometimes not so classic genre cinema of yesteryear. This is Bride of Monster Kid Radio, and I'm your writer, host, and producer, Derek M. Cook, welcoming you to kind of a catch-up show. I've got some feedback that we're going to be going over. We're going to do a little bit of a check-in with Beth and I and let you know what's going on with your favorite Bride of Monster Kid Radio-ers. Bride-ers? I mean, technically, I guess we're Monster Kid Radio irregulars too, because we've been on the show quite a bit, but we're going to do a check-in. You're going to hear about what we've got going on, things that we've been doing lately, and things that we have coming up, as well as just kind of spitballing some plans going into next year. So that'll be coming up. And of course, Mark Matzke's back with another Beta Capsule review. We are getting to the end of his coverage of Ultraman Ace, and it's been quite a ride. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I think Ultraman Ace is becoming my second favorite Ultraman series, second only to the amazing Ultraman 80. I love Ultraman 80 so much. I wonder if I can get Ultraman 80 coverage kind of shoehorned into coverage here on the show next month. And we'll talk about what's happening next month. I think a lot of you probably already know. But yeah, I wonder if I can make that happen. Anyway, Mark Matzke's here with the Beta Capsule review. Now, before we get to that, I do have one email that I want to go over. This comes from Don C. He writes in, Derek, loved the episode on... Okay, I'm going to try to do this in Spanish. La Marca del Hombre Lobo. This is about Frankenstein's Bloody Terror. In response to your question on if you should do more episodes on Peter. I'm actually going to leave that in, because that's just an innocent... That's not what Don wrote. Don's not an idiot. Don writes, in response to your question on whether or not you should do more episodes on Paul Naschy, yes, with this and Assignment Terror being the closest to classic territory, Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman would be next along with Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf and Curse of the Devil. I'd even be willing to chime in. Great episode. Don, thank you for writing in. I appreciate it. I love hearing from people. We don't get as many written emails as we used to years ago, and that's okay. I know people are kind of busy and all, but Don, thank you for taking the time to actually send in an email. It means a lot. We are going to talk about more Paul Naschy in the future, I'm sure. Don, it sounds like you want to talk about Paul Naschy movies, and I'd be down for that. And actually, when I put out that episode on Frankenstein's Bloody Terror, I had a number of people reach out to me saying, a Paul Naschy movie, and you didn't ask me to be on the show? Well, yeah, I didn't. And it wasn't because I was trying to, leave you out of the proceedings, any of you, really. Just the way things worked out schedule-wise. The nice thing about scheduling things with Beth and I, when she's the special guest of the show, the main guest of the show, there's only really one, maybe 1.5 schedules to coordinate versus trying to work out schedules and time zones and everything else. So, I was excited to get some Paul Naschy into her, and she seemed to enjoy it, and I would love to revisit some Paul Naschy. I actually really have a soft spot for Assignment Terror as well, partly because of Michael Rennie. I know most of the time through that movie, he looks like he would rather be anywhere else, or maybe even questioning every single life decision that led him to being in that movie. But I don't think the man was capable of turning in a bad performance, and I really, really enjoyed him in that film. Paul Naschy's involvement is not that big, really. I mean, he's in there as a werewolf, but you know what? I'm going to save it for when we finally do an episode on Assignment Terror. I am going to start trying to be a little bit more organized, and we'll talk about that later with Beth when we do a kind of our check-in, our Team Death update, our Bride of Monster Kid Radio update. Talk about organization and some things that I want to do here on the show. Some experiments that we've tried, some things that are working, some things that might not be working, that sort of thing. So stay tuned. Dawn, again, thanks for writing in. If you, dear listener, want to be cool like Dawn, and I mean, who wouldn't want to be? Email me at monsterkidradio@gmail.com. Of course, that email address is available on our website at monsterkidradio.net, but I'm going to say it a couple of times, monsterkidradio@gmail.com. It's real easy. Drop me a line, let me know what you thought about this episode or any of the previous episodes of Bride of Monster Kid Radio or original flavored Monster Kid Radio or anything monster related. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, I've had the Desert Undertones playing for a little while. I'm going to give them a break. We're going to get into Mark Matzke's Beta Capsule review, and then Beth and I are going to knock out some voicemail feedback and other things right now.
Will you stop clowning around and... You idiot, I'm gonna give it to you in a minute. Did you call? Yeah, we...
The Bowery Boys become spook chasers, moving to the country to pad down in a creep joint that's crawling with creeps.
Linky, you need a shave. And a manicure.
Yes, the Bowery Boys are bowling up on skeletons in the closet. The spirits are willing to play until the boys uncover the hidden treasure in the dead gangster's hideaway.
Spread out, you guys. If there is some more money, let's find it.
I don't want no trouble with these jokers unless they ask for it. All I want to do is find the rest of the dough and get out of here.
Oh, Dookie, if I knew it was you, I wouldn't have hit you so hard.
Okay, bright boy. Pick it up.
Well, as long as you're that polite.
It's a hustle and a bustle and a tussle between the guys, the goons, and the ghosts right in the crazy middle of a haunted house.
Don't look. Shield your eyes. For on the day you look upon them, you will surely die. House of the Gorgon.
Why don't you let us alone? Get back on your train and leave us alone!
Rumors circling around. Mysterious happenings at night. Strange noises emanating from the dark.
Leave Karlstadt. Leave now and never come back. Stay away from them. They mean you great harm.
Starring Caroline Munro as the Baroness. What was the sinister secret she hid beneath her dark spectacles? Martine Beswick as her sister Uriel, malevolent and evil.
You would sacrifice all that we've done merely to quench your innate desire for violence.
What if I did?
Veronica Carlson as Anna, the one woman in the village of Karlstadt willing to stand against these angels of death.
I can fight you. We can fight you.
Christopher Neame as Llewellyn, a man of faith, locked in mortal combat with overwhelming evil.
If we leave them alone, maybe they'll leave us alone.
Also starring Joshua Kennedy as the mysterious Dr. Pritchard. And introducing Georgina Dugdale, Gooey Films' latest star discovery, the Gorgon's most beautiful victim. See all of this and more when you visit the House of the Gorgon.
Cast you out, every unclean spirit, every satanic power, in the name and by the power of our Lord Jesus Christ!
Flesh crawls, blood curdles. Dr. Fives rises again with his new diabolical devices of torture and murder. See the gruesome scorpion's embrace, the eagle's caress, the sausage machine. Dr. Fives rises again, starring Vincent Price and Robert Quarry. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Dr. Fives rises again.
Live from the Land of Light in Nebula M78, home of the mighty Ultra Heroes, it's Monster Kid Radio's Beta Capsule Review. Ultraman Ace, Episode 45, A Desperate Situation. Save Ace. Satellite Jupiter 2 disappears in space, enveloped in a cloud of gas. A boy named Utica, whose father is a night watchman for a gas company, scans the night sky and witnesses a fiery red object crash land in the refinery. It's the missing satellite, and the good news is it rapidly cools, avoiding an explosion. The bad news is it looks just like the other refinery tanks, so the police dismiss their emergency call. Fortunately, Utica remembers TAC, and a quick investigation reveals that satellite Jupiter 2 has become a nest for a terrible monster. Kaiju Gaskagon emerges, destroying Utica's house. The boy and his father blame TAC for failing to stop the monster, but Captain Ryu explains that its body is filled with so much gas that all of Tokyo would burn if it were to explode. TAC deploys a freeze bomb and gas neutralizer to little effect. Gaskagon destroys both Yamanaka and Hokuto's jets, triggering the appearance of Ace. But what options does the Ultra Brother have against such an explosive foe? Episode 45 was first broadcast to Japanese televisions on February 9, 1973, and it contains many quintessential elements of an Ultraman story, such as scenes depicting objects in action in outer space, a misunderstood child who ends up saving the day with a novel idea, a monster rampage in an oil refinery resulting in a pyrotechnic blaze, and a limitation placed on the hero's response. In this case, the possibility of a tremendous detonation if an energy beam is used, which sets up the satisfying variation of TAC delivering the lethal blow, instead of Ace. There isn't a big emotional component to Episode 45, but that's a minor quibble. The high production values and skillful execution indicate that Ultraman Ace is firing on all cylinders as it enters the home stretch of the series. For Monster Kid Radio's Beta Capsule Review, this is Mark Matzke reporting.
Most blood-chilling science fiction shockers, Island of the Burning Damned, and Godzilla's Revenge. In this quiet setting, a tale of prehistoric horror is about to unfold, with the science-battling awakening of long-gone giants. for the conquest of our planet. See the giant spiders spin their web of fear around their enemies. Godzilla's revenge knows no limit. No end. No stopping. See man's last attempt at saving humanity from destruction. And Godzilla's revenge. And on the same shot-filled program, Island of the Burning Dam. What is that strange noise and burning white heat that drove people to their death?
I have been convinced that this island has become the center of an invasion. The central landing point for beings from another planet.
What happens when an unknown power from outer space uses our radar signals as life-saving beacons to bring it to Earth to consume our energy? Island of the Burning Damned, an island desperate for help.
Monster versus Goliath, the mightiest battle of all, pitting unseen evil powers of black magic against the might of Goliath in Goliath and the Vampires. A wooden stake through the heart destroys a bloodthirsty beast of evil, but is the might of Goliath powerful enough to overcome the vampire forces of the Netherworld?
I shall take your shape, and in your likeness I will destroy my enemies.
All this when Goliath invades and destroys the virgin harem of the vampire god. See Gordon Scott as Goliath in his newest and greatest adventure. Dino De Laurentiis presents Goliath and the Vampires in color and scope from American International.
Doctor, that monkey's head, is it alive?
Oh, yes, of course.
All you would need for me would be a brain. A human brain.
Well, it's hardly that simple.
Buy one, steal one. I'll do anything.
When the brain is healthy, it will never die. For even severed from its body, it continues to live, to scheme, to plot.
Look! What must have just happened?
For Carl Broussard, this means fantastic power. Now, once again, he can rule everyone and everybody, make them slaves to his venomous will. For inhuman strength, incredible might, unnatural powers, the man without a body will make your blood run cold. For it is without a doubt, without an equal, in thrills, excitement, and unbearable suspense.
Psychopath, psychopath, 6 he must slay, crushing the first in a devilish way. Psychopath, psychopath, 5 is a game of violent death with a scorching flame.
Come in.
Psychopath, psychopath, leaving no clue. What man can guess what next you will do?
Looks like another case of looking for a needle in a haystack, sir.
That dog's our needle. Psychopath, psychopath, a tortured scream before the knife's descending gleam. Psychopath, psychopath, poisons the game for the man who knows your unknown name. Psychopath, psychopath, still on the loose, bearing the hangman's deadly noose.
And so there was one.
Ledoux.
None, sir.
Psychopath, psychopath, ominous fright, threats of sticks of dynamite. Days without end of warning so chill. If you don't kill tonight, then tomorrow you will.
Good morning, bride of Monster Kid Radio. It's Marlo calling from beautiful, sunny South Texas. Wanted to let you know how much I enjoyed your last 3 episodes and how well I think the month of werewolf movies is going. I think you're off to a really great start. All 3 movies sound like lots of fun. I have seen American Werewolf in London. I saw it in the cinema, loved it. In fact, right after I saw that movie, a friend and I were going to visit one of our friends in a town named Guerneville, California. It's in kind of a little mountainous region of western Sonoma County. And our friend was the caretaker of a cemetery and lived in the back of the graveyard in a trailer. So walking through a fog-shrouded graveyard with the moon up after seeing American Werewolf in London was really a great experience. And also, I really enjoyed your Curse of the Werewolf episode. I'm going to have to see that movie. I have not seen it. I didn't know that Hammer had done a werewolf movie, so I'm going to have to cure that oversight as soon as possible and see that movie. I've already gotten my hands on a copy of it, so I'm looking forward to it, and thank you for that. And also, thank you for having Kenny and Mark both on the show again. I always enjoy both of their contributions. You've had some great guests. And, finally, I do want to echo all your thoughts about Robert E. Howard. He's one of my all-time favorite writers. I really love the Conan stories, and I also really love the Solomon Kane stories. And also his Lovecraftian fiction was really good, too. I think it's called the Jewel of Ashurbanipal or something of that nature, and it's a great story going into a kind of a Lovecraftian lost city in the desert. If you ever get a chance to read that, it's available for free online, and I think you'd really enjoy it. Y'all have a great day, and I bid you farewell.
Hey, thanks for calling in, Marlo. I really appreciate it. If you, dear listener, want to be cool like Marlo, give me a call. Leave us a voicemail at 360-524-2484. And Marlo, I'm glad you enjoyed Full Moon June. I had a blast doing it. Full Moon June has come to an end for 2025. We may revisit this again next year. Have some thoughts about the themes and how things kind of played out. I hope everybody else enjoyed it. I had a fun time diving into some of these movies and kind of dancing around the various eras of werewolf films. The 70s with Paul Naschy, and we got the classics with Universal, and then American Werewolf, of course. It's been a lot of fun. And the Hammer film. I mean, you're not the only person who didn't know that Hammer did a werewolf movie. I think for a long time, even Hammer didn't realize they did a werewolf movie, since they only did one werewolf movie. And I actually even had somebody else call in and comment on how it would have been great if Hammer had done a monster rally film, like Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman or House of Dracula or anything like that. I think the closest they ever got wasn't even really a rally film, and it wasn't a Hammer film either, but there was a Sammy Davis Jr. film. It was part of a series called, and the film was called One More Time. I think it was part of a series. Anyway, he was friends with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. And Cushing and Lee did a cameo appearance in One More Time as Baron Frankenstein and Count Dracula. It's real quick, blink and you'll miss it, no dialogue. And it's fun, but it's not a monster rally. I think it's the only time we ever saw any of the Hammer franchises kind of intersect that way. I think it would have been cool. It would have been really, really neat. I know that Hammer films, especially some of the Frankenstein films and some of the Dracula movies, don't really adhere to the strictest of continuity. But I wonder if there would be a way to kind of track the continuity and the geography of these films, where things are taking place, when things are taking place. Can we create some sort of Hammer World Bible to where we have this massive timeline of everything that was going on? I suspect that once we get 3 or 4 movies deep, we're going to find some conflicts within the timeline. The Dracula movies in particular, the first 2 and the last 2 are direct sequels to one another. And the same with the Frankenstein films. The first 2 follow each other, boom, boom. But after that, it's kind of all over the place. But, we're fans / fanatics. Maybe we can make some headcanon work. I would have loved to have seen an American Werewolf in London in the theater at some point. I think that would have been a lot of fun. I just have never had that opportunity, so I'm so jealous that you got to do that, Marlo. That's super cool. Thank you for calling in and sharing that. I appreciate it.
You got real monsters, my lord, in your cellar. Real monsters. I seen them all in the movies. You got Frankenstein. And Frankenstein's monster. You got Igor. And on the table is this beautiful chick, long blonde hair, going, "Hey, sweet case, how are you?" And you also got the vampire.
Why don't you join our little party?
Yeah, you gonna shout it? Wow! You get the feeling, will lose your mind. Feel it, make you holler. One more time, you go.
And the feeling hits you now.
Hello, Derek. It's Robert Kelly from Record All Monsters and also Real Life, probably. I just wanted to call to let you guys know how much I have enjoyed Full Moon June. And I'm excited for other upcoming theme months. Kaiju July, as you know, Kaiju are my fun bread and butter over at Record All Monsters. Looking forward to Squatchtember as well. I have some ideas for some other theme months, maybe. First of all, I also thought maybe we do Sasquatch movies for October and do Squatchtoberfest. You could do killer car movies like Duel, Christine, The Car, for Karch, November, where you look at remakes of classic monster movies. I don't know, I got a bunch of ideas. It's almost like I should have my own podcast or something. Anyway, keep up the good work as always. Say hi to Beth and Wednesday for me, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
So let's talk about theme months. First of all, and I can speak for Beth when I say this, October is sacred. It's going to be about the celebration of October and everything that comes along with it. So we're not turning October into a theme month, although Squatchember is definitely happening, and I like that better. It sounds better than Sasquatchember. So yeah, we're doing that for sure. And actually, Robert, you and I are definitely going to spearhead that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I would love to get Mark Matzke involved as well, because he's involved with Small Town Monsters and Cryptids. And I've been doing some looking and some digging, and I think we can find some movies to talk about during the month of September when we talk about Bigfoot movies. Robert actually kind of inspired us to do that. So that'll be happening. Karch just doesn't roll off the tongue very well. And, here's the thing about theme months. I've been having fun doing it. Obviously, Lucha de Mayo is something we're always going to do here on the show. Kaiju July, I think, is becoming a regular thing as well. I don't know if we'll do Full Moon June every year. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I'd like to do it again in the future, but maybe we'll give it a break next year. I honestly, if I'm going to peel back the monster curtain just a little bit, part of the reason why I wanted to do a theme month is there are other podcasts out there that do themes, either monthly themes, or in the case of Disney Indiana, they would do a yearly theme. And it's something that I've wanted to experiment with and do more of here on the show, kind of hoping that maybe it would drive some more engagement in terms of downloads and subscriptions and feedback.
Well, and I was thinking, if you didn't want to do Werewolves in June again, as an alternative for next year, you could do Summer Nights, because June's got the longest days in it, and do, beach movies with monsters in them.
Okay, I kind of love that idea.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
And then when you can wear your, Hawaiian skull shirts for it, so it's perfect.
Beth is here, by the way. Beth's involvement in this episode is probably going to be a little bit less than I originally promoted, and that's just because life gets in the way and that sort of thing. But yeah, Summer Nights, I kind of like that idea. Anyway, the whole reason we were doing themes was because I was trying to drive engagement. Because, Monster Kid Radio, Bride of Monster Kid Radio, what we do here, we've been doing it for over 13 years. And I wanted to kind of keep things fresh and bring in more listeners, bring in more subscriptions and subscribers, and get more interaction, either online in terms of Blue Sky, Twitch, X, I guess, or even just feedback, email and voicemail. And I was hoping maybe the themes would kind of drive that a little bit. I don't know if it's really had an impact. So, we'll do theme months occasionally, but maybe not every single month. After Kai July, we are going to take a break. Although, Robert, I do like your idea about November, because I've actually already, and this happened over a month ago, met somebody in person here in the Arizona area that I'm friends with on Facebook, and we really hit it off. And we were talking about maybe having him come on the podcast, and one of his favorite movies of all time is from the 80s that a lot of people call a remake of a movie from the 50s. Now, I would argue that it's not exactly a remake, it's just an adaptation of a short story that was already adapted once before. I'm talking about The Thing from Another World and The Thing, but for all intents and purposes, I guess it is a remake. Anyway, he and I are going to talk about The Thing and The Thing from Another World in the future on the show. And yeah, I like November quite a bit. So maybe we will do another theme then. And we'll see how things go. Man, Robert, you the man. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. And now we've got some voicemails from the man, the myth, the captain. It's Captain Billy.
Jaws is being re-released for Labor Day week. I don't know the dates, but we'll play it's from what I've read, it will play for 7 days. I do not know how it's playing. I don't know if that's going to be Fathom Events. I did not come up in Fathom Events. I could not find out any information. I looked up before Memorial Day or Memorial Day weekend, so I could not find anything posted anywhere yet, but Labor Day is still a way away, so it's still not too late. Just keep checking your websites, keep checking your Google machine, and eventually the information will come to you, I hope. I don't think they've canceled it. I didn't see anything different, so...
This is the 50th year anniversary of Jaws, the 1975 summer blockbuster that pretty much set the mold and put us on the course that we're on now with summer blockbusters being a thing. Jaws. And I know we've talked about Jaws here on the show in the past. It's a classic film. It really is kind of one of the best. I'm going to flat out say it. It's one of my favorites. It is right up there. It might not, you know what? It very well could be my favorite Spielberg film. It's just a wonderful movie. And according to Attractions Magazine, over at attractionsmagazine.com, Jaws is returning to movie theaters this year. That is going to be playing around the country here in the U.S. for Labor Day weekend. And all summer long, it may be streaming on Peacock as well. Also, the Alamo Drafthouse is showing the movie throughout the summer, starting on Memorial Day weekend, which I believe has already happened. Yeah, calendars are hard. But yeah, they were going to be playing it throughout the summer across the country as well. I don't think it's Fathom Events, but it is playing. So if you have a chance to see Jaws on the big screen, you really ought to go. And at the Alamo Drafthouse, they're selling collectible pumpkin popcorn bucket in the shape of a shark head. It's a shark looking straight up, and the jaws open up with the popcorn being inside. You know, I think these popcorn buckets are really, really cool collectibles, but they're expensive, man. Which is probably for the best, because if they were a little bit cheaper, I'd have like a whole bunch of them taking up space. And I already have too many things taking up space, even though I'm still living out of my mom's guest room. And but it's really cool. And it reminds me of the old Jaws game, home game, which was a plastic shark that you would fill with trash. And I believe there was a wagon wheel in there. I don't remember for sure because I haven't, played it in forever. But it was a game that I had growing up. I didn't even know what Jaws was, but it was a game by Ideal. It had a skull, a tire. Oh man, I think there was an anchor in there, and the jaw of the shark was held down by the weight of the junk, but it was connected to the shark itself with a rubber band, and the goal was to pull out player by player, piece by piece, the stuff that was inside the jaws or the shark's mouth. And if the jaws snapped shut, you lost. I believe it was like a hook that you would use to kind of fish out this stuff, no pun intended. But yeah, I remember having that game, and I loved that game. I really enjoyed it. And I remember being frustrated, though, because the original rubber band got lost or broke or something along the way. So I was always using replacement rubber bands, but I could never get one that had like the right tension. So it was always like trying to double it up and that sort of thing. But man, that was cool. That was a cool memory. When I see this popcorn bucket from Alamo Drafthouse, I'm not saying I wouldn't want a shark popcorn bucket. It would probably get used for something else around the house here, to hold, I don't know, Lego or something, but it's super cool, man. If you get a chance to go see Jaws, y'all really ought to go see Jaws. And maybe call in and let us know how the experience was.
Jaws. Jaws. Jaws is the game where you try to fish out what's in the jaws of the great white shark.
I'm going for the camera. Made it.
But be careful, because if you remove the wrong piece, the jaws will get you. You're out. Jaws, it's you against the great white shark and each other from Ideal.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You have a miniature museum in Arizona? No wonder you moved to Arizona. Holy frioles. I called in last week and said I was jealous because you get to go to conventions for your job. Now you tell me you've got a miniature museum in Arizona? And you got the Ray Harryhausen tour stopping by? Derek, you're living my best life. I don't know how you feel. You're doing great by my measure, boy. And you get to see Jason and the Argonauts in a couple of months. I had a chance to see, I didn't have a chance. He played it on Thursday, and I couldn't go. I had to work. Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, and that was like, at least 5. It was pre-COVID, so it was like 7 or 8 years ago. That's the only time I know about Harryhausen movie playing anywhere near me on a big screen. And like I said, they only showed it one time on a Thursday, and I had to work on Friday. I couldn't go. Boy, I am uber duper jealous now.
All right. So a couple of things. First of all, Captain Billy did call in about going to conventions as part of my job. So here's the thing. I'm not going to conventions as part of my job, and I'm sorry if I misrepresented that. That was not the intention. I do work for the Lego Group. I work in a department that you may interact with if you ever were to call or email in to the Lego Group about anything. The convention that Beth and I went to, Phoenix Fan Fusion, we were there as part of our Lego Club, which is separate from my employment with the Lego Group. We were there as part of the display, putting together a big thing. And I'll talk about the Lego Club here in a little bit. But yeah, I hope I didn't misrepresent that, because that's not the case. It'd be awesome. It would be super cool if I could go to conventions and get paid for it. But I think the best that I can hope for is either being a presenter, a panelist, part of a display, or an exhibit, or being a guest even, or getting a press pass to a convention. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit as well. As far as the Harryhausen thing goes, though, man, I didn't even know it was happening. And I kind of hold myself a little responsible for this. I even hold my brother, Kenny from Old Mexico, because he's a huge Harryhausen head. And he's like within driving distance as well. And he didn't know. It was actually Matt Rashley, Monster Kid Radio, irregular, longtime friend of the show. He's the one that pointed it out. In fact, Matt's been very, very active on Facebook. If you follow or join the Monster Kid Radio group on Facebook, you're going to see Matt post all sorts of things about different events happening across the country here in the U.S. at the very least, when it comes to Monster Kid relevant screenings. He just recently posted that The Maze is getting a 3D release or presentation somewhere here in the States, which, man, I would love to see The Maze in 3D. But yeah, Matt brought this to my attention. What we're talking about, for those of you who might not know, or might be this is the first time you've heard the show or heard us talk about it, the Mini Time Machine Museum of Miniatures is in Tucson, Arizona, which is an hour-ish drive from where Beth and I are now. We've been to Tucson a few times, but we've never been to the museum. I kind of wanted to go, but then when I found out about this Ray Harryhausen exhibit, it's happening September 30th through May 3rd of next year. Ray Harryhausen miniature models of the silver screen. I assume they're going to be bringing in a lot of the models. I can't wait. I would love to go. I mean, we're going to go. I'm pretty sure we're going to go. This is being done by the Ray and Diana Harryhausen Foundation, and they are teaming up with the Loft Cinema, which is a really cool theater in Tucson, to show Jason and the Argonauts on Saturday, October 4th, 2025. Tickets are not available for sale yet. They're going to make tickets available for sale sometime at the beginning of August of this year. So I'm going to be paying attention to that at the Loft Cinema. Vanessa Harryhausen, the daughter of Ray Harryhausen, will be there, as well as Connor Haney, the collections manager of the Ray and Diana Harryhausen Foundation, are going to be there to do a Q&A after the film, which will be really cool as well. I cannot wait to go. Oh, man, this is going to be cool. And I like Tucson. I actually really, really like the vibe of Tucson. And not just because that's actually where I was born. Now, the miniature museum is not the reason why we moved to Arizona. Far from it. We had no idea. When we decided to move to Arizona, it was for some personal reasons involving family and other things. And I'm glad we made the move. I still desperately miss my friends up in the Pacific Northwest area, my found family, my brothers and sisters, and the pop culture and the environment there. And I miss the rain, something fierce. I'm so tired of it being 100 plus degrees, man. I'm recording this at late at night, and it's still 100 degrees here, man. It's nuts. But we are slowly finding our people and our place here in Arizona. I hope we can continue to find our people in place, and I'm hoping that the Harryhausen exhibit might be part of that. If you're going to be in the area, if there's any way you can get to the Tucson area and join us, that would be awesome. I would love to meet up with you at this event, either the screening, or maybe we can plan a day to all just go to the museum together and check it out. I think that would be a lot of fun. And like I said, Tucson's cool. I like Tucson a lot, at least the few times we've been there. Beth and I have been there for a couple of things. We were at the Loft Cinema for a found footage festival, and that was fun. It might be fun to see how they actually show a real movie. That'll be cool too. So let's talk about upcoming events. Let's talk about stuff that's going on here. So I talked about this on the stream over at twitch.tv/MonsterKidRadio, that we've been trying to get press passes and just trying to get involved with the local horror community. It's been difficult because when we say classic horror around here, everybody thinks about the 80s, which, I mean, technically that's 50 plus years ago, and I don't like to think about that. 40 years ago? I don't know. Math is hard. When I say classic, I mean golden age, not silver age. You know what I mean? And there's not a lot of golden age classic stuff happening around here. At some point, we may just have to bite the bullet and figure out how to do it ourselves. That's not going to happen this year. Maybe next year we can make something happen. But we have reached out to Mad Monster Party. We have reached out to Days of the Dead. They're going to be doing conventions here in a few weeks, actually, to see if maybe we could get in on a press pass, because honestly, that's the only way we can do it right now. Financially, it just is how it is. It's the reality of the situation. Mad Monster Party turned us down. They said they don't do press passes, and we never heard back from Days of the Dead. So I don't think the likelihood of that happening is very high. That said, I don't know. Maybe we'll still find a way to go. We'll see. I know that there's at least one Monster Kid Radio irregular that is going to be in town for this event. And, maybe we can make something happen. I don't know. I said I was going to talk about Lego. Let's talk about Lego here for a second. And I apologize if my talking about Lego feels too far removed from monster stuff, but I'm slowly putting together the idea of a segment to do here on the show where Beth and I can give updates about things happening in our life that don't have anything to do with monsters. And a lot of that's going to involve Lego, because we've really found a passion for the brick. Not just because I work there, but we've gotten very involved with our local LUG or Lego user group. Lego and Lego fans are big proponents of using acronyms for everything. So I'm an AFOL, an adult fan of Lego, as is Beth. We belong to a LUG or a Lego user group called Cactus Brick here in the Phoenix area. We meet once a month, and as of now, I am the acting secretary of that club. And I will be through the rest of the year. And we'll see, maybe even to next year, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm the acting secretary of the club, and we're getting more and more involved with that. And Beth has become an incredible designer. I mean, I like to design too and build too, don't get me wrong, but Beth has been knocking it out of the park. And if you follow us on our Instagram page over at Brick Lagoon, Lagoon is spelled Legoon, you'll see our pictures from Fan Fusion, and you'll see Beth's incredible haunted house design. That was part of the Fan Fusion Cactus Brick display. I helped too, but most of it was done by Beth. And she is going to have a version of that haunted house on display at the opening of the newest Lego store in Scottsdale, Arizona here in a couple of weeks. And that same weekend, like the following day, we have a Bricks and Minifigs opening as well, which is another like Lego store, but it's not an official Lego store. It's like secondhand. It's doing an opening, and Beth will be moving her display from the Lego store to Bricks and Minifig. I'm so proud of her, and a tiny, tiny bit jealous, because she's awesome. She's just knocking it out of the park, and I can't wait to see what she does. I'm building something myself right now, slowly bashing bricks together to create a Dungeons & Dragons display, but I'll tell you, one of the mocks that I have in mind, mock is MOC, or my own creation, to bring it back to monsters, is I'd like to make a life-size oxygen destroyer from the Godzilla films. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible, because Lego doesn't make a lot of chrome silver pieces, and I feel like it needs to be chrome silver, plus there's a lot of curves involved, and Lego is a brick. But I might be able to pull it off. I have some ideas. And again, follow us over on our Instagram. I'll make sure there's a link in the show notes, but it's Brick Lagoon, and Lagoon is spelled like Lego, but, it's Lagoon. And you can learn more about what we're doing over there. So those are things that are coming up. Speaking of other conventions, we did reach out to Gathering of the Ghouls, which is the convention that happens later in the summer, put on by Terror Trader, which is a really cool horror store here in Arizona. We've been a couple of times. I'd like to maybe even do an episode over there, or at least get them on the show in some way, shape, or form. But they have an event happening September 20th and 21st. I have reached out to them about a press pass. I have not heard back. They do have celebrities and things. But again, it's stuff from the Silver Age of Horror as opposed to the Golden Age of Horror. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. I would like to get involved, though, with them as well. If you are aware of any horror or monster or classic sci-fi or fantasy events happening in the Phoenix Valley, the Greater Valley area, Beth and I would love to get involved. We'd love to go. We'd love to cover it. We'd love to meet more of our people. You know what I mean? So yeah, let us know if you know of anything. If you have any connections to any of these conventions, reach out and let us know, because we'd love to get involved with this. And, I would love to be able to do more convention coverage and do more conventions. A lot of you went to Monster Bash, which happened last weekend, and I'm so jealous. Please know that the amount of time that I spent on your various Facebook pages was not me being creepy. I was just living vicariously through your Facebook posts and pictures from Monster Bash. I miss my Monster Bash family. I would love to get out there, and Beth and I are looking to do Monster Bash next year, the big summer show. So keep your fingers and tentacles crossed that we can make that happen. As I said, we don't get paid to do these conventions or anything like that, but we do have our day jobs to help pay for us to be able to do these things, and hopefully next year we can make some things happen. Beth is about to start a new job as well in July, which I guess is just in a couple of days. So she's going to be starting that up. So yeah, we'll see how some things go. We're working on it. We're working on it. We don't have any irons in the fire when it comes to haunts this year yet. We've been keeping our eyes open about ways to get involved with the haunt community as well. We did do the haunt last Halloween where we got dressed up as zombies and got shot by laser tag shotguns. And that was a lot of fun. I think we're looking to expand what we do, even if it's just us going to various haunts and covering them on our YouTube channel, which we realize has been dormant, but we are going to be bringing it back once we get our place kind of set up, when we figure out where we're going to live. And, we're just looking to kind of grow in that way. But seriously, Jason and the Argonauts on the big screen, how cool is that going to be, man? Oh, yeah.
Make way for excitement! Excitement that swirls you through danger after danger after danger. The colossal bronze god, Talos. The islands of the crashing cliffs. The vulturous female-formed harpies. Columbia Pictures presents Jason and the Argonauts, the most heroic of the immortal Greek legends, now for the first time on the giant theater screen. Jason and the Argonauts, a handful of champions on the greatest odyssey of the ages. Starring Todd Armstrong as Jason, the man who challenges the gods, Nancy Kovac as Medea. Now playing at the Twilight, Skyway, and New Albany Drive-In Theater.
I was thinking about it. You were talking about having us set up and tear down for that convention, and I thought, what a roller coaster ride your life has been since I started listening to the show. I don't know. I know it's more than 5 years. I don't know if it's been. I'm not even sure how old Monster Kid Radio goes back. I was not around for the mail order zombie days, but God, the ins and outs and ups and downs your life has been, and now here you are, 2025. And part of your job is having to set up and tear down because you get to go to conventions on the weekend. I am so jealous. One of my adult fantasies in my head was being able to buy an SUV or some giant pickup truck or something like that and have little trailers, like a little U-Haul trailers, and have one full of horror movie stuff and one of comic book stuff and one full of science fiction stuff or model kit stuff. And every weekend just drive around the country, show to show. Of course, if they want to eat bologna sandwiches out of your cooler and sleep in the back of your SUV every weekend. I know you sleep at hotels, that gets really expensive real fast. So, getting the tear down. I just thought about it. This show, your life has changed so much, and you've wound up in a very good place. I hope it sounds like a good place. You sound like a happy man, and I know Beth's happy, so because she's got you. And thanks for bringing back the Fast Five, my favorite thing. I tell you, Derek, you just chewing the fat with one of your guests and talking about what they love and why they love horror. That's my favorite thing, my absolute favorite thing on this show. You should bring it back. Do it with every guest like you used to back in the old days. I love it, and I vote 100% to bring back the Fast Five.
I know I played those voicemails kind of out of order. I just, my prerogative, my podcast, whatever. Anyway, I wanted to end this whole voicemail feedback thing on this particular voicemail because Captain Billy does bring up that I sound happy. And I'd like to think that I am sounding happy because I am ridiculously happy. So Monster Kid Radio began in January of 2013. It's been a while. It's been a long haul, and my life has changed dramatically from the beginning of the show to now. It's all been about growth and kind of figuring things out. One of the things that I love about podcasting is that you can continue to grow and change. If you're not one of these big studio shows or a show done by a celebrity, that sort of thing, you can kind of experiment and play around a little bit. And I've enjoyed doing that. But I've also had some significant changes. I started the show married, living in Beaverton, Oregon, got divorced, moved to Vancouver, Washington, then met Beth and just fell deeply in love with this incredible woman that has made me happy. And it's just been incredible. And, I haven't gone back and listened to some of the older episodes of the show. I've considered going back and maybe kind of remastering some of them now that I have some more skills when it comes to audio editing and processing and all that. But I know that I've grown, and I know that I've changed, and I know that I'm a much happier person. Beth has made me ridiculously happy. I'm happy to be down here in Arizona, despite what I said about missing my friends, and I do, don't get me wrong. But I'm happy about where we're at. I'm very happy with my job. I love my job, the day job, and we're going to start adding writing back into the mix and YouTubing back into the mix, here at Team Death and everything. And Mail Order Zombie, you mentioned Mail Order Zombie. I did that for a few years, too. And I still want to do the Mail Order Zombie journal or magazine. I still want to get that going at some point this year as well. I'm sitting here on a few pieces that have been submitted for that eventual Mail Order Zombie magazine mailing, whatever you want to call it, publication. So that'll be happening at some point as well. I'd like to maybe do that by October. That might be overly ambitious, but we'll see. But no, I'd like to think things are moving in the right direction and have been moving in the right direction for me for a long time. And it's made me very, very happy. So I'm glad that it comes across that way because I want to be authentic about my happiness and my joy. And while Monster Kid Radio and Bride of Monster Kid Radio is always going to be about the classic monster movies, the classic genre cinema of yesteryear, every once in a while I like to peel back the curtain to give you a death note of what's going on behind the scenes with Team Death and just to kind of share a little bit about our lives. And that's been a lot of fun. So thank you for being along for the ride. And I want to thank everybody for being part of this feedback episode. If you want to contribute feedback to a future episode, please give us a call at 360-524-2484 or email me at mailorderzombie. Oh, I just did it, didn't I? monsterkidradio@gmail.com. Monster Kid Radio. Don't email me at mailorderzombie. I don't check that email anymore. monsterkidradio@gmail.com. You can even do what Marlo did, which was just send us an audio file of your own. Probably it'd sound better than just calling the voicemail line. But if you call the voicemail line, that's cool too. Anyway, thank you for being part of the show, everybody. Big thanks to Beth for popping in there for a second. Thanks to Mark for being part of the show with the Beta Capsule review, continuing to work hard to make that segment something special. I really appreciate all the hard work that he does for the show. Means a lot to have him along for the ride. Would love to get Kenny back on a regular basis as well. In order to have Kenny involved, though, I do need to let him know ahead of time what's coming up on a future episode of the show. And I can tell you, with Kai July happening, Robert Kelly's going to be on the show to talk about something. I'm kind of leaving it up to him to let me know what he wants to talk about. We are talking about doing something a little more off the beaten path, which I'd love to get into. Those are some of my favorite episodes, And I do know that we're going to be doing a Gamera round table since Gamera is 60 years old this year. So a round table panel podcast of some sort. Steve Sullivan is going to be part of that episode. We're not sure who else is going to be joining us, but if you are interested in being part of a Gamera round table or discussion, and you can do Zoom, email me at monsterkidradio@gmail.com and let me know your availability and what your interest in Gamera is, and maybe we can make it happen. That would be a lot of fun. So we've got that coming up, and of course, Beth is going to be dropping in to continue her kaiju education with her kaiju catch-up. We're going to be getting into the Mysterians with her, so that will be a good time as well.
The Mysterian! The Mysterian! The Mysterian! You are now inside a flying saucer. Our destination, the planet Earth. We are the Mysterians. Our race is old, dying, our planet dead. Only you of Earth, you and your women, can give us life. And what we want, we take. Swooping down from outer space, flowing up from the lower depths, the Mysterians. Creatures who knew the uttermost secrets of the atom before our planet was born. Love-hungry spacemen come to seize our women that their dying race may live. It started in the east. Soon it swept the west. The all-out horror of interplanetary war. See giant robots no earthly weapon can destroy rip a path of destruction across the land. See the forces of nature harnessed to the invader's will wipe entire cities from the face of the world. See the earth itself crumble beneath your feet. The Mysterians, threatening our civilization with weapons beyond the belief of modern science. Flying ray guns that blast everything before them. An impregnable fortress that hides in the earth. Gamma rays that melt the heaviest armament. As men and machines disintegrate before your eyes. The Mysterians. What power can stop their ruthless advance? See the blazing holocaust of an earth gone mad. See on the giant screen in flaming color. The Mysterians.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of Bride of Monster Kid Radio. Again, thanks to everybody who is part of the show. A special thanks to the band, the Desert Undertones, for letting us play their song Long March 7 here on the show. Remember, you can find them over at desertundertones.bandcamp.com or desertundertones.com. If you head over there to their website, check out their events. You're going to see that they've got some shows coming up. I mentioned them already at the top of the show, but their next big show is happening at Surfapalooza Saturday, July 26th at the Hotel Congress in Tucson, Arizona. They are a band based out of Tucson, Arizona. And that means they're not too far from me, and that means maybe I could go to a show. I should really check out what this Surfapalooza is all about. Anyway, go check out the Desert Undertones. Let them know that you heard about them here on Bride of Monster Kid Radio. You can learn more about the podcast over at our website at monsterkidradio.net. You're going to find links to everything that we've talked about here on the show, including our contact information. I'm going to mention it again for those of you in the back. It is monsterkidradio@gmail.com, or you can call and leave us a voicemail at 360-524-2484. Call in, write in, let us know what you think. You can also find us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, X, Blue Sky. We are on Reddit. Don't do as much as we should on Reddit. We even have a Discord. And while I haven't updated there in the past several weeks, we are on the Classic Horror Film Board as well, kind of, sort of. So you can find us over there, but definitely find us at patreon.com/monsterkidradio, where we are going to be posting things as well, including, once I know what's happening on the next episode of the podcast, I'll mention it there first. And you can follow us on Patreon for free. And you know what? I want to mention this. I did have somebody call in and talk about this. We were given the opportunity to take advantage of some advertising, courtesy of our podcast host. I was able to select what kind of podcast advertising we do not want to have. No politics, no religion. But I don't know what kind of ads are being inserted into the podcast. I know that some people are hearing ads. Could you just drop me a line and let me know what those ads are? Because I don't get to hear them. I don't get to see them. I don't listen to my own show after I've uploaded it, so I don't know what's there. I'd like to give it, find out what's there, though. So if you can drop me a line, let me know. Anyway, next week on the show, we kick off Kai July, and we've got some stuff coming up. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having you here when we, get our giant monster on. It's going to be a good time. Bride of Monster Kid Radio is a Team Death production. All original content of Bride of Monster Kid Radio is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 Unported license. You can learn more about Team Death, our other projects like Death Designs, Mail Order Zombie, the Team Death YouTube channel, and more at www.teamdeath.com. Remember, death is spelled D-E-T-H. All previous episodes of this podcast, as well as the original Monster Kid Radio podcast, are available at www.monsterkidradio.net. Please rate and review Bride of Monster Kid Radio wherever you download your favorite podcasts. Long March 7 is copyright 2025 Desert Undertones. Once again, you can find them at desertundertones.bandcamp.com. My name is Derek M. Cook. I'll talk to everybody next week. Ciao.